We rock on the track.
Welcome to eMERS Podcast 360. I'm your host, Maserati. We want to thank you for tuning in. No matter where you are in this metaverse world, we're going to continue to bring you the best quality content and formula that we know how. We want to thank you for all the likes, shares, and subscriptions on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We have a very special guest and a great show. This is being brought to you by Involved Social and Civic Club, where we understand the social and civic need. It's Sunday Beyond the Game with legendary official and coach from the Northeast Louisiana. It's Coach JT. James Taylor is in the building, folks. It all started in 1982 in Southside Park in Jonesboro, Louisiana, where Bobby Lolly asked him to officiate a Dixie Boys game. And is wrote in history. 39 years later, he's regarded as one of the best officials and umpires in the state of Louisiana. As official 34 years with LHSAA and LHSOA Officials Association, he was in the SWAC conference from 94 to 99, where he officiated an exposition game between the New York Yankees and the Grambling State Tigers in 1997. He has attended and officiated 11 high school state championship baseball tournaments and 200 plus playoff games. As a teacher, he's had 30 years experience football and basketball. He helped the General Trash, formerly known as Lake Providence, to their first semi-final appearance in football history as the defensive coordinator. He went on to coach the LA Gridiron All-Star Bowl game 2 years in a row in 2018 and 19, where they won the championship, and he was the defensive coordinator for the blue team. In his high school days at Jonesboro Hodge, he was a tennis player, compiled a record of 32-5 over 3 years. He was 81-83 MVP and co-MVP in 82. He was an all-state tennis player. He was also a basketball player for the Hodge, 81 through 84, 3-year letterman, 1984 all-district first team, co-captain, point guard for the Northeast Louisiana basketball, honorable mention all-state team. In his younger days, he made the Dixie Youth All-Star, folks, 7 times. It's Coach Taylor, who everybody loves. Coach Taylor, JT, how you doing?
Yeah, man, it's an honor, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Coach Taylor, we're great to have you on, and just kind of tell us how it was for you growing up. You know, you and I officiate a lot of games together, and you kind of mentored me in the thing, but tell folks about how it was growing up for Coach Taylor.
Well, I tell you what, I had some great parents, man. I had 2 parents, man. They raised us with the basics, man. They were strict on us, but it was all love, so it really started right there. But I feel like I said, you told the story, man. Just one day I showed up at the ballpark, put a clicker on my hand. You know, I've always been involved in sports. And but got the history degree. Actually, I really wanted to go to law school, but I think I'm doing what I'm doing, that passion, man. Something I can really be passionate about, something I can really be thankful for, because I've coached a lot of athletes in this area.
Right, Coach. You know, everybody loved Coach Taylor, but Coach Taylor kind of tell us about what were some of your ambitions coming up as a young man over there in Jonesboro.
Well, originally, man, I really wanted to be a professional baseball player, but I was all around athlete. I played multiple sports, but I really wanted to be a baseball player, man. I grew up wishing for the Astros back in the day when he was Cavell, J.R. Richards, Cesar Daniel, Southern Cats, Terry Pools, that group. I mean, you know, Houston made a couple of runs, and you can see what they've done lately, but back then, you know, they've always come up short. And back during my day, you know, it was tough, man, to be out there on the field. It was Dixie ball back in the day, wasn't all this travel ball, you know, which is eventually taken over. But, you know, it's good for an umpire now, because you can always get a lot of games. You know, people are always calling me up, man. I'm near the end of the career, though, man. I think this year I'm going to retire this year. People don't believe that I think this is my final year umpiring in high school this year, man. I'm trying to go out in the state championship because I just think it's just time.
Right, Coach. And that's one thing people don't know about officiating. It comes a capsule when you should pass the baton and let the younger guys get into the
Absolutely.
experience of officiating. And I think we're losing a lot of officials because us older guys don't want to pass the baton. How you feel about the drop in officiating that's going on, Coach?
Well, that's mainly probably why I've probably done it so long, because I'm ready to pass the torch. I don't want to be a victim of staying too long or just staying off of my reputation.
Right. Coach, I saw something in your bio that I didn't know you were that good. I know they said you played, but you was pretty good in tennis, Coach. Talk to us, JT.
A lot of people don't know that about me. I started playing with grown men around the community. There's a few guys. I was going to NYSP. Wallace Black was one of the instructors, and a lot of the college tennis players took an interest in me. I was already athletic, and I picked up the game. And I started playing in high school as a freshman. I made the team as a freshman. I was the number 3 or 4 seed. And the next year, I was playing 1 and 2. And my junior year, I was outright number 1, and we didn't have a team my senior year. So, but I picked up the game at about 10 years old, just natural.
Right. Coach, a lot of things have changed from your time to now when it comes to athletics, and you've been officiating for 30 plus years. What have you seen that has pretty much declined, or the reason for the decline in participation in youth athletics today?
One thing I think parents are just getting there's been so many incidents that been happening with this youth football and youth sports period. These incidents with officials and coaches. So that's one of the reasons I don't think we should give up on it. We just got to quit doing some of the things that we've been doing, because it's so positive. These kids need this. And I just think, man, we just got to we can't give up on the youth. We got to keep these programs going any way we can, because we just have to just make sure. I've been going to a few of them over at Wasserman and over at Carroll and Neville on Saturday, man. And Till States is so great, man. I mean, you see all those kids out there playing. Man, I wish we'd have had something like that. We didn't have that when I was growing up. So these kids are faster, stronger, man. They got more technology. The coaches are better, man. But it still ain't no substitute for hard work. I still say, how much talent you got, still got to put in that work. Some of my players will tell you that was one of my big statements. You got to put in that work. I mean, there ain't no substitute for it, man.
Right. Coach, when you were coming up and you were playing sports and stuff, who were kind of some of the guys over there at Jonesboro? You guys got a great culture and history of some phenomenal athletes, man, too. Talk to us about it, Coach.
It was so busy, man. So I'm going to just name a few, man. But there were a lot of great athletes that came before me, but I'm going to have to mention this guy. Michael Malone was a multiple sport guy. Larry James named him the magician. And when I was growing up, I really wanted to be like him. But there were so many like Robert Williams, Anthony Anderson, and so forth. But just to name a few, Marvin Thomas. I mean, these guys, Terrence Leonard. I mean, just to name a few guys, man, because we had great coaching back then. You had Callahan, Wayne Alford, Jimmy Davis, Cordell Bailey, some of the guys, man, that I was able to play under, man. I had some great coach, Terry Reed. His son played in Indiana, they coached college ball, and they were coached at Pineville and coached at Southern Miss. And so back then, man, you had to get it. I tell people all the time, you had to finish first and second. Wasn't a wild card. You had to earn it in district. So you had to just do it all year long, man.
Right.
But these athletes, man, they just phenomenal, man. I mean, the game has changed, man. 3-point shot is the big thing. Up and down the floor, that's where they want to play, man. The same thing in football. Everybody's playing spread. Look at those folks doing over there. Put the spread offense, Max Spence put in over there, man. It's just phenomenal. How the game, that's what people want to see. They want to see about the end zone, man.
Right, Coach. And you've been coaching a long time. You've been officiating, and you've been balancing this for over 30-some years, being a great official and still finding that time and that grind to put in as coordinators up and down 165 and I-20. Coach, but when we come back, we want you to kind of speak on some of the schools and athletes that you done met and coached through your 30-some plus years. When we return, it's LHSAA, LHSOA, top-notch official. It's Coach JT, James Taylor, when we return after this intermission. We're back. We're back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Stepping Stones LLC of Jonesboro, Louisiana. We're still here with legendary official in Northeast Louisiana Coach JT James Taylor. Coach, when we went to intermission, I want you to kind of share with the people about your coaching experience up and down 165 and I-20.
Well, man, it started out in your parish, man, over there in Morehouse Parish, Delta High School, man. I coached some great athletes, man, and multiple sports people like Derek Lawson, played football, Tony King, Kentradius Pate, Boyd Matthews, Derek Lawson, James Hawkins, man. And, man, Quentin Morgan, the list goes on and on. I spent 2.5 years over there at Delta, man. Coached some great athletes in baseball, Joe Forte, Montgomery. I mean, we had track runners over there. We had it all over there, girls basketball. And then I made another stop, man, at Jonesboro Hards, man, where I had people like Nick Hall, Scotty Anderson. I coached him. I coached Jermaine Washington and a couple other cats over there. Mark Hicks, man, he's coaching now, and I'm officiating. Then I made another stop in Ravel. Then South Oak Cliff in Dallas. I coached some great athletes out there. They went to some major colleges out there, people like Gerald Howard that played at Arkansas, man. We had, I had a guy, one of my guys in the secondary, John Livingston, went to Wyoming, and, coached against Chris Bosh. Then I came to Lake Providence and spent 22 years in Lake Providence, man, where we had some of the great success, man, with some of the kids like Whitehead Williams, Jarius Lawson. We had another guy by the running back by the name of Sir James Peeler that started the trend. We went to the playoffs for the first time. Now, I mean, it's just so many, man. I'm going to leave somebody out, man. Lamar Callaway, Alex Booth, Brandon Clemens. I mean, man, great quarterbacks. Man, so many. The Griffin family, I just got to mention the whole family, man. So, a whole bunch of families I've coached, like I said, the Callaways, Deontay Brown, some of their brothers, man. Lamar Sr., he had a couple sons that I coached, man. So many athletes I got a chance to be around, man. That I've coached, man. I just the Gridiron Bowl, winning that bowl game, coaching some of the athletes around the state. Some of those guys were at meet that just won the state championships, guys go on to get scholarships. Andy Bryson does a great job with Gridiron football, man. It's really took off. We had the game at Southeastern last year, man. A nice crowd. A lot of kids signed. A lot of kids want to play in our bowl game. We try to do it first class, man.
Right. And Coach, I noticed about the Gridiron Bowl. You've been to the Gridiron Bowl twice as a defensive coordinator. How did the
actually 3 times, actually 4 or 5 selections I've been selected this year. 1 year the pandemic stopped us, but I'm 3-0 in the bowl game.
Wow.
3-0, man.
So how did the LA Gridiron Bowl get started, Coach?
Well, actually, man, we had that great season I told you in 2019 when we went 9-4. Won a playoff game for the first time in 30 years, and clearly turned it around. And we had a couple of guys playing in that bowl game up in I don't want to call it out, but that bowl game up in Ruston, that Northwood other bowl game. And some kids didn't get selected. We just looked at it. I saw it come across Facebook, and I called Andy up, and I told him he looked us up and saw we had a big season. We had some seasons, some great things. And we took 4 kids to the All-Star game the first year, man. And I've been rolling with Andy ever since, man. I serve on the board of directors and a part-time reporter, man. I got to get a story in when I leave, and I get to talk to you on the Mangum Jones Raz game, man. I covered that game for Gridiron football.
Right, Coach. You have a lot of experience, and you've met a lot of kids. Who has been, we'll say, one of the most influential people or coaches that you met or been up under in your tenure?
Well, man, people like Lonnie Callahan, Jimmy Davis, Cordell Davis, man, those guys were great when I was in high school, man. People like Jesse Burnett, Lorenzo Price giving me my first job, Coach Wallace out there at South Oak Cliff, man, it was great to be around. Coach Thomas, when I first came to Lake Providence, gave me a shot. Coach Mason, Coach Woods, and Coach Wells, of course, we've made some history over there, man. But I've been fortunate enough to coach with some great guys, man. I've learned a lot. Been around a lot of kids, man, and also I always like to tell people, teacher, coach, official, in that order, man. That's truly my motto.
Right, right. And Coach, like we said, you done balanced this for 30-some years. Kind of take us through a day in the life of Coach Taylor. You're teaching school, and then you're coaching, which you say you didn't let that go for a minute, but you're still officiating all over Northeast Louisiana. Kind of take us in a day of Coach Taylor.
I'm going to tell you, man, it starts, I'm an early bird. I get up probably about 5 a.m., probably just, unwind. I'm usually start getting dressed at 5:30, and I'm out of the house usually 4, 6 o'clock. And because I like to go in and prep for my classroom. When I was coaching, there wasn't no getting off at 3:30. It was days 7, 8 o'clock, usually 7 getting it home, sometimes weekends, because that's what it was all about. That's all he was working for. But they would consist of anywhere from, man, sometimes you on the hours, man. You may put in 16 hours, man, like I ain't nothing 14 hours. 5 days a week, man, during the season, then coaching multiple sports, and then me officiating, doing all this at one time. I got used to it, but I'm cutting down, bro. So I kind of have to pick my spots now.
Right, right. You've been doing this quite a long time, Coach, and you say you kind of shine away from the coaching aspect.
Oh, yeah, kind of fast torch, man.
Right, right. Now, with officiating, Coach, this is what I want to get into. Because I've been doing it quite some time. You're one of my mentors in the association.
Oh yeah, man. You do a good job, man.
Would you please explain to the younger generation, to some guys our age that's looking for that side money and a better profession? Would you please explain to them how we need officials?
Oh man, it's a shortage. That's why you got old guys like me. And the thing about it, man, and I even said this, and I've been talking to people like Jeff Sampson, Robert Underwood, and a lot of guys that I know around the area, that we're going to have to start training these young men starting them young. I mean, I got an early start. And man, it is very lucrative. There's somewhere every weekend I can call all over the South. I'm not talking about just Louisiana, Texas. If you're just willing to go and you can get there. They use a lot of these places, man, first class. And I built up a reputation where I'm pretty much not for hire, but, if you want me to come that far out of time, the accommodations got to be right for my age. You want me to call a lot of dogs. And usually the people that I've been working for, they take care of me. And that's why I'm still doing a lot of outside umpiring, and I call a lot of seasons. But the thing about it, man, that's just that hustle and bustle of the LHSA, man, working the plate, taking care of 258 for last year. I appreciate those guys, man. It says a lot about our association. Ruston having Western Row, Western Washington, and Ruston in our association. They lead our association, man, having 258 in Ruston. That was huge. It's been like that for a minute.
Right. And guys don't understand the politics in officiating. Not only do we need officials, but it's hard. Oh, it's hard, especially on us black officials in a dominated association. Could you kind of let the people know?
Well, I tell a guy like this, man. I'm going to tell you, man, it took a long time to get my due because I was calling college ball at 27. Still hadn't even worked the state championship. It took to 2006. I worked a lot of playoff games, the quarterfinals, several times, a lot of playoffs, man. I mean, I've had some numbers. And then finally, in 2006, I got the call at ULM. I had the semifinals. I had Sal Minnesota, my first semifinal game. Then I had the championship game on the bases. It was Captain Street, St. Thomas More. And the next year, I had Zachary and Captain Street. I had to play my second time in a row. At ULM, make sure I had to play, man. That was the second. And then it just started climbing. Man. I actually be calling the state championship every year, man. You got to work hard. Professionalism. You got to go out, go to the camps, man. You got to grind, man, because you got to grind, you got to dress the part, all that. I had to learn all these things, man, because I had to really, really work to get myself in a position. And that's the reason why I really just, I really don't want to quit, but I want to stay in the game and really see to start training these guys at a young age, man. It's real lucrative, man. They just got to just get involved in something, man. I mean, it's going to take some time, but it's some good money involved, and I think, man, that's something that needs to take place.
Right, and see, guys don't know this is officiating is another way to stay in the game. Right. As an official, you're a teacher out there too, especially in youth sports. This allows you to stay in tune with the game and also go ahead and teach the youth about the game, and that's what we're lacking a lot with officiating, Coach Taylor. Integrity. Integrity is something that we're lacking around the board. And like you say, you dress the part, and people don't know it's officiating. If you dressed and looked the part, 85% of the battle is over.
That's right. That's a true statement, my brother.
So, Coach, this is what I want to know. We're going to take another intermission. When we come back, we want to talk about your SWAC experience officiating in the SWAC. And when we come back, I want you to kind of share with the people how you climbed the ladder and your experience as being a college official in the SWAC conference. We're still here with Coach James Taylor when we return after this intermission. DJ Dewey rock on the track. DJ Dewey rock on the track. Welcome back. We're still here with Coach James Taylor. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Northeast Louisiana Counseling Agency of Bastrop, Louisiana. Coach Taylor, experience SWAC Conference baseball. Tell us about it.
I'm going to tell you when it really started. When I was 14 years old, I got a chance to go to Coach Ellis' first baseball camp. So we had a relationship then, and when I started coaching baseball a couple of years ago, that was the only time I coached baseball. We had a couple of kids that could play. When I coached in my first college game, Eddie Montgomery was playing for Jarvis, and we went about 5 for 8, against him. And then the coach started building a relationship. And then back then, the coaches had to really give you a recommendation. Somebody that called in the SWAC conference, one of the coaches. And that's how you got in the SWAC. That's kind of real political too. Where now if you go through the camps, go through the training, you can call in the SWAC. But back then, man, it was highly political. You had to be a proven umpire. And then Coach Ellis started you out a lot of times against some of his NAIA competition, which sometimes the guys were pretty good. Baseball, you never know. And Coach Ellis gave me a chance working Yankees. I always had ULM, the Southern games, man, Roger Kadar. McGowan that was over at Alcorn, Candy Robinson that was at Texas Southern, Tank and Fairview. Hey man, I knew all the big guys that were in the SWAC man conference, and so I got a chance to win the SWAC with the new degree when it was Grammar and Southern was playing for the championship. Sometimes Jackson State. I mean, the SWAC was kind of loaded back then, man, and during that time, man, I just tried to be better than those other guys and work hard. And a lot of times you had to work in your area. And like now they travel a lot. But you have to attend these camps, man, and so many years and go out there and prove yourself. But it can be done, man. But it takes a lot of consistency and some time, though, man, if you want to chance to move up in the SWAC, man. But I did it for 6 years, and I'm grateful I got signed. Because with me coaching and my schedule and a young daughter, I have a daughter, that graduated from college, teaching now and with Southern, and so proud of her in her second year. You just want to kick back and start enjoy the fruits of your children, so she's real special. And a lot of times we coaching, we're going to homecoming coming up Jonesboro. We both graduated from JA, and we're going to get a chance to go to homecoming. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Right. Speaking of your daughter and speaking of youth, Coach, you know about the crime rate here in Morehouse Parish and some of the surrounding areas. What are you doing, Coach, and what have you seen the need to help reach these youth to turn them around?
Well, I'm going to tell you, man, I'm in the classroom every day, man, communicating with these youngsters, man. We got to say, we can't give up on them. We got to stay in their ear, man, and try to put some positive things on them. Even not just sports. We're trying to get a program called Save Our Sons that we used to have in the surrounding areas and stop all this beef the guys 20 miles down the road, man. You got to beat for the guy just because he lives in another town. It wasn't like that back in my day. I mean, we competed on the field, competed against each other, but, you know, we went out to the surrounding areas. It wasn't even about that, and it's just really sad. And we got to reach them at an early age, man. We just got to keep putting programs, keep talking every day. I tell them all the time, we got to work in the classroom. I'm teaching. It's real in there. And that's where it starts, man. We just got to start with the parents, got to buy in with the schools, and everybody just got to communicate, man. We just got to be on the same page for that.
Right. You know, Coach, you say it starts at home,
right?
With the parenting.
Absolutely.
What parenting skills as a teacher and a coach, when you come in contact with parents, what kind of advice do you give parents you see struggling with a child, Coach?
Well, I tell them all the time, man, I don't care what the background is, poor, rich, whatever. Just feel that old-fashioned discipline ain't no replacement for it, man. You got to have some rules, set some boundaries. Might have to have more conversation now than we did, but I still believe in the old-fashioned discipline and respect. Which, you know, there are going to be some times where, you know, but most of the time, man, I still say in dictatorship, man, my daughter tell you, we didn't have to fuss, we talked about it, but, you know, most of the time they have to making the final call. You know, that's just the way we raise ours, you know. And you got to sometimes let them experience life too, you know, but I still think it goes back to the discipline, man, getting up out of bed, being in school on time, doing what you're supposed to do in that classroom, man. That's got to be a priority. Coming to school, man. Coming to school. Getting up out that bed and being there on time. Going to bed at night.
Right, right. And like you said, Coach, you just the simple things, discipline and things of that nature, what helps kids and help us as adults go a long way. But with that being said, Coach, with you, what's the most important thing in your classroom that you're going to address daily?
Oh, just you got to be there on time or you're going to be late. Having your assignments set outside in the timely manner. I mean, just you can't get something for nothing. It's just, you know, it's a daily task every day with middle school kids. And I teach middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade social studies. And also taught English before and math. I'm level 3 certified.
Right, right. So, now, Coach, in your tenure, what has been the most successful accomplishment, whether it be officiating, coaching, or teaching, in your 30-plus years that you feel most accomplished?
I can mention winning the district championship in South Oak Cliff, having that success there, winning the playoff game in Delta. Coaching, man, Jonesboro hard. I had some success there, but just taking Lake Providence, I'm not going to lie, man. We spent 22 years at a place that have a special heart for the people up there. And what we did in 2020, man, and what we brought to the program, we'll probably stand out in my bowl games. But, you know, just coaching those kids up in Lake Providence, when I first came there was a basketball school, and now they're restricted in football. I mean, winning the football in Lake Providence, what Coach Wells has done up there. And, man, it's huge, man. We got 5 Coach of the Years in 2020 when I sent my final run, man. So, you know, that's going to really stand out, man.
Right, right. You know, you was in Lake Providence 20-some years, and I know your heart's still there. And you kind of giving up, stepping back from the coach. You say you're probably going to go ahead and announce your retirement. But, right. Coach, if you had one more opportunity, where would you go out of all those schools you've been? If you had that one more opportunity.
Man, you don't put me on the spot like that, man. I don't know who's going to hear this, man. Hey, man, to tell you the truth, it would probably be, I'm going to say this, the one that I can win right now. And nothing personal with him. It have to be success right here, right now, that I can see that's just not really personal. It's just who I am in my career, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
you know,
right.
It's just, so I really just, whichever one that probably had the best opportunity for me to win.
Right, right.
And that's real.
Right. You know, I wasn't putting you on the spot, Coach, but, you know, you love, you know, everywhere I go with you, or everywhere I see you, is JT, especially when it comes to this umpiring, Coach Taylor. even in Texas, when I was living in Texas, I throw your name out there. Oh yeah, I know JT, crazy. I know JT, good umpire. How has that journey officiating youth baseball all these years? How has that turned out for Coach Taylor?
Oh man, it's been great, man. It's led to a lot of relationships with people, youngsters, seeing guys get drafted that I call, going to the pros, man, and win state championships, seeing guys rated all over the country. It's just great, man. I've called a lot of kids that are playing in the major leagues, man, on signed big contracts that got drafted. So I want the big game. I always had one of my fellow umpires used to call me Big Game James. And we used to laugh about it, but it was the truth. It was the truth, Big Game James. You know, at Westboro, I was at Westboro 5 times last year, and you already know what they did. They won the state championship. They were big game, man. Westboro Neville, Westboro Weston, Westboro Ash. I had all the big games. Trey Altic, I was there for 2 games. And Coach Sono does a great job. His staff over there do a great job over there, man. I want to call the best. And that's what I call the best. I want to see the best baseball.
Right. You know, and
yeah, I do.
Right. Now, Coach Taylor, you know, with baseball, let's talk about baseball here for a minute. Let's talk about blacks in baseball. From the time you played until now, what has deterred our kids, particularly black kids, from playing America's pastime?
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Some places it is kind of thriving because they have these fall leagues, year-round leagues. I have me traveling from about 3 or 4 states. I have seen more than I have in the past, and with these travel ball teams, but it still is not dominant. There needs to be more. But you see a few, and they're on the team. They're probably pretty good. But our kids just don't want to play baseball. We just have to put it in their hands at an early age and make them stick with it and not quit when they get 13 or 14 years old. So that's really what's happening in these other sports. And I think the kids need to play as many sports as they can, It needs to be a limit on the games. I mean, basketball games, he forgets to play, and he needs to have the opportunity to play all sports and work out with each team. But it needs to be a limit, with those kids, man, because, a lot of times these kids are just getting big talk. And, I mean, you still got to perform even when you're young, you're a phenom, you still got to get it done. Sometimes kids, progress too quickly, they mature too quick, and it feels a lot, man. Baseball, man, it's tough, man, but it's a lot of money and longevity in that baseball, man.
Right, and we talk about youth sports. We had Xavier Robinson. I know you remember little Xavier Robinson over here in Bastrop, the X-Man, and he was on, and he was talking about, he found out later on at the age 22 when he was trying out for the Texas Rangers that his knees were that of someone who had been playing football in the NFL for 10 years. And he went on to say, Coach, if he could go back, he'd have told his mom about the injuries, and he would have stuck to baseball because it was more longevity in that game. What's one thing, Coach, you think we can do to get our kids more interested in the game?
We just basically, man, got to start them out early, man, and not just require them, but put the game in front of them, man. Take them out to the ballpark. At a real early age, man. But all these leagues, man, they playing at a younger age, and they got leagues everywhere. Especially in your bigger places. But man, you just got to get our kids registered to play, and just maybe even add some incentives, man. It's just got to get done. It's got to get done. The government needs to set aside some money for these real small places to be able to run the places, because you still got to run these leagues. Got to take some money, so they need to put some tax dollars in these real small places and have that opportunity at an early age, man.
Yeah, now I want to ask this from a personal perspective. We do a lot of travel ball. Now, do you think that may be some of the reason you see a kind of decline with the black kids playing?
Well, yeah, because if you can't play, you ain't gonna be on the teams. And I see what I see them. I know that they out there, and that's just the truth. If they can't play, they ain't gonna be on these teams. And because I know it costs money. If that kid's good enough, they'll find a sponsor. But I can't tell a kid not to take that sponsorship. They want to pay for these kids to play, man. More power to them, because the more looks they get, their name gets out there, man. I tell them all the time, take that opportunity. Because we just didn't have, we weren't playing all over the South like that now, all over the country. Like these kids, social media, all these different leagues, man, them getting ranked, scouts everywhere, man. Hey, man, it's opportunity out there, man. It's opportunity.
You know, talking about that social media, coach. How many athletes you've had in your, since social media been a thing? How many guys you done seen lose their scholarship because of their social media page?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the guys that on my page that I have told them about, I tell them as soon as you put some food on your page or in your friends, I'm deleting it. I had to do it, and I preach this. I've been preaching this ever since. Clean it up, clean it up, clean it up. He will come back to haunt you. Man, I've seen a few guys that happened to. That's costly. But we constantly, man, I mean, they see guys, stuff is happening. Domestic violence, that's another thing to get our guys doing. Not just the social media direct. We want, we got to teach our young men, how to treat these young ladies, man. That's something, too. We got to teach these young men how to be men.
Right. And, Coach, before we get out of here, I want your personal perspective from the heart. I want you to just talk to the youth in all of the towns they're listening that you ever coached in. I want you to speak to the youth from your heart and give them a word of advice from Coach JT James Taylor.
Well, I'm going to tell you, man, the first thing put God in your life. Right or wrong, you can't go wrong when you come back to him. We as men, older men, we got to get out here and kind of lead some by example to these young men. And, we got to keep them involved, man. I just look back when I was in school, I stayed involved, not with just sports, but just, in the church, with different kinds of events, man, whatever Louisiana team, Dixie Youth Baseball, flag football, Knights of the Tigers, you name it, man, if it was going on, we was involved in it, man. That's what we did, man. And, we just didn't move around. We got to keep up, and we just got to just, keep reaching out to our youth, man, keep passing this message, man. It's just something we got to do daily, man. That's what I tell guys, man, in that order, man. It's not real hard, man. It may seem like it, but that's what we got to do, man. It's got to be collective, man. Collective effort.
Right. It takes a community to raise a child. And you said you had some strong parents in your life. Right. Today, a lot of times we can't say it's the single parent. A lot of times it's grandparents raising these kids, Coach. And we, as like you say, men, we have to see these situations and kind of step in and help out.
Sometimes it's good if everybody's helping out, man, if that situation happens. Sometimes, man, it takes the family, man, but, man, just regardless of who takes care of the kids, just got to be the right example, man. And, you just got to just stick to your guns and just, it starts early, man. I'm just being real, man. But mine, starting early, both parents, grandparents, and family just got to be, raised in the village, man. That's the way we did.
Right. Coach, I kind of like to ask some of my guests this question right here. What do you think it is going to take before we let you go to bridge this generational gap?
Man, just like the Big Man March, man, we're going to have a Big Man meet. It's got to take place soon, man. And all the states we start right here in Louisiana, our background, right here at home. And then we need to go nationwide with this. This is just be a connect. We just need to have. It's going to just like Big Man March is going to be Big Man meet. We got to get out, man. I'm serious. We start locally. In all our towns, all those different towns, man, we're going to have to come together, man. And just get out here and start getting at these youth, man. We gotta get out there on that grind, bro. And that's real. And I mean, come on,
right. It's funny you said that, Coach, because at one time, the east part of Northeast Louisiana, Lake Providence, Tallulah's, Oak Grove, Ucara parishes, we kind of bonded together, especially when I was coming up, even though we were competitive against each other. We kind of bonded at the end, but now these surrounding areas, we done took this rivalry thing to a different level, almost hatred. What do you think that happened with that, Coach?
Well, man, it goes back, man. We just get together, man. And like starts at home, but we still as a community and brothers in this world, man. We just gonna have to get it done, man. Roll up our sleeves and let's make it happen. And then we got to be about it, not be just talking about it. So I'm passing words on daily at my school, daily.
Right.
Even when they don't want to listen, they don't hear it. They know. I took a couple of youth from the league this weekend. I was coming with our football, a couple of kids in my class, man. Took them to the game. And I started taking up time with them. I ain't gonna call their names, but just what we gotta do, man. Most of the people for that grind and hard work, man. We gotta get together and lead one with some solutions and start making it happen.
Right. Coach, we sure appreciate you dropping through and dropping those jewels and gems on us for the moment.
Appreciate you, brother.
We appreciate you, Coach. Any last things before we let you go? Any last words?
Oh, man, I'm just saying, you have me on, man. Anytime you please thank me, man, I'm just all the way, man. And just let me know, man. I'm all in.
Well, we hope to have you back real soon. Hey, I'm your host, Maserati. This has been brought to you by Involved Social and Civic Club, where we understand the social and civic need of love, learn, live, and laugh. Until next time, y'all stay encouraged. Y'all get involved. And most of all, y'all stay immersed. We out of this thing.
I was raised in the ghetto. I've been to the bottom. Ain't nothing at the bottom for me. Only tell all my problems. Seems he can only solve it for me. I was raised in the ghetto. See, struggle ain't no stranger to me. Grind hard for the paper. I think the top is where I'm destined to be.
I ain't never been no crash, I'm in love with fast money. I hate to ask for something, nobody gave me nothing. Life on the line, I'm busting. I'd have been through enough shit. I ain't trying to be no upset. I don't trust anything suspect. Lost some years to the jungle, brought some tears to my mama. Came home.
Coach Taylor, hello.